guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be working on two different projects. We're going to start here in the raised bed garden. We're going to be planting a few of our fall crops as well as two warm season crops, but they're short day crops, like they'll produce pretty quickly. And then we're going to go out and plant some ice plants. Botanical name is Espoma. The variety here is Orchid Flash. And I think these are a brand new variety for next year coming out. We planted some called Pink Radiance earlier this season, and they are so gorgeous. We'll have to swing by and take a look at those, but these are a wonderful low maintenance ground cover, grow about 2 to 4 inches tall, and they'll spread out like 2 feet. Like each plant will. Look at that. They're a zone 6 through 10. They like full sun. Of course, they don't need a whole lot of water because they're a type of succulent and they bloom all summer long. And they're just such a vibrant, beautiful color. I love them. I think they're so pretty. But let's talk about fall crops first, because there are a few details to know about what to plant and when to plant them. So fall crops are basically a repeat of our spring crops, the things that do well in cooler weather. So, you know, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, beets, radishes, greens like your lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard, onions, peas. Did I already say peas? Anyway, the list goes on. But we can't plant them all right now. Like for us, beginning of August, it's still too hot, and some things do not flourish in hot weather. Your greens and radishes would be 2 categories. You want to wait on those and plant those a little bit later after it has cooled off a bit. But we can start our carrots and peas today. We're going to direct seed those. You can start broccoli and cabbage inside, like in cooler temperatures. I've got cabbage going still from our winter sowing method in a water jug in the greenhouse right now. And I will plant those out probably after this next heat wave. We have another week of 100+ degree temperatures. So I have those going, and you can go ahead and start your seeds inside for those crops and then pop them out a little bit later. It is important for you to figure out your average first frost date. You can Google it. Average first frost date and then your zip code. And then it should give you kind of a window. Ours is mid to late September. So from today, we're here beginning of August. I know I've got like 75, 80-ish days to grow more things. So you want to choose varieties that will mature in that amount of time. And you might want to add a little buffer. Like for example, the Nantes carrots, they're a 68-day. If you add an extra 7 days to that maturity date, sometimes that helps because, you know, we just don't have the heat units as we're approaching fall like we do when we plant these in the spring. When we plant them in the spring, it's just getting warmer, warmer, warmer. So they usually produce in this amount of time. But as temperatures get cooler, growth rates kind of tail off a little bit. So adding a little buffer sometimes helps. And also knowing the average first frost date, it lets you know whether or not you have enough time to squeeze in some extra warm season crops, which we have time. So like today, we're gonna put in actually some zinnias, 2 different varieties. There's Lilliput, and this is a double Sahara raspberry ripple. 75 to 85 day. We've got some beans. We've got a hole in the side there, so I've got to hold them like this. 55-day beans. We've got some Persian baby cucumbers here, green fingers, and these are a 60-day. And then this is one I'm pushing it, the Jack B. Little pumpkin. Usually you'll see that it's a 90 to 100-day pumpkin, but some sources say 85-day, which means if we can get this up and going and get some fruit on them, we might have some just in time for Halloween. And I figure it's worth it. We've got space in there, so I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, let's take a look in here where we're gonna be planting. I need to prune the roses again. So we just recently swapped out all of the drip tubing in here to drip tape, and everything is working perfectly. And that's why everything's so empty, because what I had decided to do as I was, you know, harvesting garlic and taking out spring crops, I knew I needed to switch all the drip. So I just waited and did not plant anything so that we wouldn't have anything in the way in some of the beds, because it was kind of hard to replace the drip in some, like the carrot bed was the worst because they're so grown together. But the beds we have to work with today, we've got these 2 L-shaped beds. This is a 3x6. We've got an empty 3x4 right here. And then we've got just the 3x6 portion of this L, and then the half of this one. We've got celery in this bed. We've got a table, acorn squash, which I was just noticing. Look at that. And the plant is loaded with fruit. I picked up a really crummy looking plant late in the season, like late June. The garden center always has a table of kind of like discount or free plants. I thought, well, I've got some empty space. I may as well pop them in. It's looking awesome. We've got a few little onions in here. We've got some Cinderella peach zinnias here, along with some amazel basil. Bolted broccoli, we're just slowly feeding the chickens that. We've got carrots from our spring seeding, but we will get all of those pulled up and processed, so I'll want a late crop of those. We've got a Sunny Boy tomato right here, which I clearly need to put some kind of support around, I don't know. And then we've got a delicata squash right here. And then we also have the containers in this space. The center one which I did have all these planted, but it just didn't go well. We have this one right here, which actually was rotting, and that's what kind of started the whole evacuation process of all the plants. All those plants died, so we had to clean that pot out. And then I actually took the James Britannia from this container and planted them in the ground in areas where I had some other ones not thrive. I need to take the geraniums out today and I'll repot those. And then the other plant I had in here was the Supertunia Priscilla, which I'm just not impressed with this year. So I decided, you know what, let's just blank slate these and plant some seeds. We've got these beautiful dwarf zinnias and they grow 12 to 20 inches tall. And I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to see how much of an impact we can get from seed in our containers rather than starting with already grown plants. So that is our project this morning. It shouldn't take us too long given the fact that the water is all set. I am going to be adding some Biotone starter fertilizer to each bed like I normally do. And then after the plants come up, I think I'm going to watch the watering just because the drip tape is still so new. I want to make sure that it's all good. So we'll wait till the plants are up and then we will come in with a layer of Land Sea compost just to top dress, cover up the drip tape so we don't see it. And that will also add in nutrients a little bit later on down the road. I also need to figure out why that front pot plugged up. So we might have to dig all that soil out and figure that out. I don't know, but here we go. All right, guys, we got all of the raised beds planted and the containers. I think every spot in here is full now. We will have the broccoli here harvested within however many days it takes us to feed that to the chickens, and I can save that bed for some greens later on. But starting here at the front, we've got the 2 containers here planted up with zinnia seeds as well as the one in the center. I think that'll be really pretty. It'll be fun to see how quickly they grow. This one, what it looked like happened is that all the gravel from underneath had just been gradually pushed away, you know, in efforts to level it and that sort of thing. It just happens. And there was some really thick mud underneath it that looked like it had made its way up into the drain hole, which I don't really know how that happens, but it was so thick and sticky. I think that's what had plugged it. So I cleared all of that out, and then I pushed a bunch of new gravel underneath the pot. So hopefully it's sitting up far enough to where that stuff can't get back up into the drain hole. I also noticed that there's way more drip tube in this one as opposed to this one. So I'm just gonna have to monitor that. I think I'm going to reduce the amount that this one has. Anyway, those are all planted. Did the same thing for the center one. Let's start, I guess, with this bed. Now, I had planned on planting this section, but then I realized that, we've had bachelor's buttons in here since last year and we pulled them out, but they are coming back up. They self-seed and they're so beautiful, so we're just gonna let them do their thing, and they are a cool season crop as well. So it's quite perfect. We put royal burgundy beans in that bed right there. I just love purple beans. They're pretty, they're easier to pick because you can see them, and they do still turn green when you cook them. In the far bed, we've got the sugar snap pole peas, and I just planted 2 seeds at the base of every bamboo stake that comes down. In this one, I did 2 hills of Jack-B. Little pumpkins. In here, I did this side with carrots, and then I did 1 hill of the baby cucumbers, and then I did another hill of the baby cucumbers right here, and then Lilliput zinnias, which are a short-growing zinnia, in this section right there. All done and ready to go for fall. I love it. So now we just need to head out to the south garden where the ice plants are gonna go. Oh, this shade feels nice. It's a warm one today, and it's supposed to be 108 tomorrow, so we should see some really quick germination going on in these beds. But it's also a good thing to keep in mind because we cannot let those seeds dry out. And even though they're on a drip system, the drip only goes off once a day in this area, so we're gonna have to go through probably for the next week or so and supplementally water just to make sure that the soil never completely dries out. The swallowtail. Oh. Looks pretty cool over here. Out here on the back side of the south garden, you can see along the front of this border, we need something shorter and something that can kind of just fill in the gaps in this space. I did have a larger drift of this skull cap, which I absolutely love, but I don't know what the deal is. I think maybe this spot just gets too much moisture, and I didn't even run any drip tube. You can see there's a drip tube right there, but I didn't run another one because I knew that this space was going to get a little bit of overspray water from the sprinklers. It might have been just a little bit too much for this type of plant. It is a beauty though. I just love it. But now we've got some space that we need to put some things in, and I think that these would look so pretty. Let's try one out. See what it looks like. Yeah, look at that color with everything else. Oh, and it's the right height too. Having some things that are short, like our creeping Veronica right here. I love having that right in there because it stays nice and short, and well, that one's an evergreen. It's just absolutely beautiful all the time. Got some grass growing in it though. Jeez. Take care of that quick. There, that's better. No grass in the ground cover. Anyway, I think that this is going to be a really nice spot, and I think that that's enough of a different type of pink from like the microchip pink buddleias right there that it'll really stand out. So let's get all 7 of these in the ground. Got them in, they look great. They just filled up the empty spaces right here. So there's 3 that kind of swing around the front and side of this, I think is a tiramisu sedum right here. And what I want to do in 2 different spots is once these have grown out and started to root in, I'm going to divide them and kind of spread them around. Like right in here, I'd like to have more, and they will spread 2 feet. So like this one here will reach to this area. And then right in this spot, I would love to pop another one right in here, maybe tuck one right back in here, possibly even go back in this way. But there are 4 currently right in this location. I love all the cool colors in here, along with the kind of more chartreusey. There's the Sesky Gold Birch. This is a variegated sedum I can't remember the name of. And then we've got some lemon coral in here. And if we swing all the way this way, you can see the big mangave and the new fountain we just recently put in. I love her so much over there. Anyway, a great day, you guys. Super productive. Really happy to have all of our raised beds filled in. I don't think that there's been a time where I have let them be empty as long as I did this year to get the water thing rectified, but I'm glad that that's fixed, because going forward, I hope that that whole thing is a lot easier. And I love that we were able to plug in a few more things out here, and sometimes that's my favorite part. Like the bone structure is already here. We just get to come in and do little fluff things. That's fun. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.